I want to talk to you about stage fright. Who hasn't had stage fright? You know, that sense of like jittering in your belly, or your mind suddenly goes blank. You don't know what you were going to say or sing, or you start sweating, or your whole body kind of feels like it's vibrating. Everybody's probably had that experience at some point or another. So we could think about stage fright in different ways, right? We could find out what is the cause of stage fright. We could try to get rid of the stage fright, or we could think about it like a process worker. So process worker thinks about stage fright and thinks something's happening. Something's trying to happen. What is that? There's a curiosity in process work. What is trying to happen? So once I was working with a woman who complained about terrible stage fright. She had been an opera singer and she had had a lot of success in her career, but every single time she went on stage, she had incredible stage fright. So much that she would take beta blockers to calm herself down and zone herself out before she would perform. But that got to be unsustainable for her. She didn't want to do that anymore. So she stopped performing. She came to a workshop that I was doing on stage fright. She started working on that. So as a process worker, somebody comes to you with a problem, one of the first questions is always, how do you know you have that problem? How do you experience that problem? So I said, how do you experience stage fright? And she said, my breath is really tight and there's a here, right here, it feels like it's all cramped in and squeezed and I can't feel my legs. So I said, okay, can you do that to me? So this is something that we do in process work. It's called becoming the symptom maker, right? So she's the victim of this symptom, right? She's the one who's being squeezed. So I said, can you do that to me? So she started to squeeze me. I have to say that's one of the occupational hazards of being a process worker. She was really strong and she's like going like right like that. When she did that, like there was a certain in her face and and it was in her shoulders, and then I noticed that she started doing it more in her legs, and so it became a whole global experience in her whole body. She started going like that, and she started making a sound. And then after a while I said, who is that? Who are you that's doing that? And she said, I'm an ogre. So she started to become this ogre that was just walking around like that. And there was this incredible power in that ogre. And then I said, whoa, do you want to sing, dear ogre? And this ogre went to the stage that was in this room that we were working on and sang with this incredible power. And then afterwards, the woman said, whoa, I had never realized that I could sing with that kind of power before. She said, I always grew up singing like this. I always had the pretty white dress on, and I was supposed to be pretty and sweet and a girl. And I never realized that I could sing like that. That was something else. And then that night, she had a dream, and she came back the next day and she told us in the seminar the dream. And the dream was that there was a tree, and that tree had been bound in different ways. She said, like you bind a bonsai, a little bonsai, but this was a big tree that had been bound in different ways so that it would grow in certain ways. And in this dream, the ropes that had been binding this tree had been cut. so this tree could grow however it wanted to grow, as big as it wanted to grow. And she was so moved by this dream when she was telling it to us. And she said that she realized she didn't have to just be this little pretty girl. She could be however she wanted to be. Now, I saw this woman again and again when I would visit this country where she lived to go teach over the years. And she told me that she started performing again. And she started performing other kinds of things, not opera anymore. She started performing things where she could use this inside of her. So another year, she was telling me about this, that she was doing concerts and that sometimes she still had some breathing troubles. So we were working on her breathing troubles. And she said it was this sense that she kept trying to breathe. And when we worked on that, it was this sense that she was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And she said she was like a cuckoo. And she said that cuckoos are these huge birds that take up a lot of space. And she wasn't used to taking up a lot of space. So we worked on what would that be like to really take up space. And she talking about walking around the stage. And then she said, but it's hard for me to take up a lot of space because I'm always wearing these little tight dresses. And she said, maybe I don't have to wear tight dresses. Maybe I could actually just wear pants. And then she emailed me later and she said that she got rave reviews in her next concert. And she was so surprised that nobody mentioned her clothes. They just mentioned her voice. So there's something really beautiful about this, that in stage fright, it's not just that something bad is happening. It's that something is happening. Something is trying to happen, that the body and the process is wise and it's trying to come out and show itself. So one of the things, we could look at this process, let's look at that one with the ogre. So it's a little bit like fishing. Process work is a little bit like fishing. First, we put the hook in the water, right? We realize, okay, we're going to be dealing with stage fright here. We put the hook in the water of stage fright. And then we notice, what is the channel? What is happening? Oh, that's happening in the body. That's happening in the breath. How is that actually showing itself? That's hooking the fish, right? You find out, okay, that's actually, this is going on. And then you bring the fish onto the boat. That means it's not just this, it's an ogre. There's a that's in there. You bring that fish into the boat. And then finally, you eat the fish. In other words, it's not just an ogre. It's not just stage fright. You eat the fish, meaning you let that process nourish you. That process is no longer a shark that's trying to eat you. That you eat that process. You let it nourish you. This woman used that power inside of her to enrich her life, to enrich her music. So, yeah, it's fishing.